Hello everyone. So we're going to have another episode or installment of our Totally Junk Journal project, round 2. And today we are going to make a fun little tag shaped notepad to go into our Totally Junk Journal. And what we're going to need today is a printed envelope from our junk stash, and I'm going to use some white envelopes that have white for my paper. Now you could cut up a sheet of copy paper or something, or any kind of scrap paper that you've got that would work. I want something that's relatively white so that I have the little papers inside or something I can write on. Now, not all of them have to be white on both sides. These are just white on one side and they're sort of white on the other side, but some reasonably white paper. I am going to use my paper cutter because it makes it easier. I've got some fiber. This is just embroidery floss, and I have a little image that I'm going to use to decorate my little notepad. So let's get busy here, and the first thing I want to do is get this out of the way. I want the outside cover of my little notepad to be reasonably sturdy. So what I am going to do is, oops, got glue all over if I'm not careful. I am going to glue this envelope wrong side out. Okay? It's just, that makes it 2 layers thick. Alright? And I'm just going to set it aside so it can dry. Then I also want my little decoration piece to be reasonably sturdy. So what I'm going to do is just glue it to another piece of envelope. Let's see, I bet I have a piece in here that will work just fine. Yep. Okay, so now normally I would use an image that I hadn't cut out and then just fussy cut it out later, but this image just was already cut out, so I'm going to use it. And I'm just making it a little bit more sturdy, and then I'll cut it out completely. And let's make sure it's stuck. And we're just going to set both of those things aside to dry. That will just get them dry and sturdy. I'm going to turn this page. Now we need to cut some papers for the inside of our little notebook, tag-shaped notebook. So what I did was I measured across this envelope, which is about 3 1/4, just a little bit, about 3 1/2 actually, but I'm going to trim it off to about 3 1/4. And then it's about 7 1/2, so I figured half of that. I want to make it a little bit, this little part at the top, I don't want paper up in there because it'll be hard to punch the hole in. So I'm going to make the papers, the pages inside, 3 1/2 long by 3 1/4 wide. And you could wait to measure the papers until this dried and you cut it out, but I want to go ahead and get them cut out. So I'm just using junk mail envelopes, and it would help if I had my thing turned around right. And I'm just going to trim off the ends. And trim off the bottom. It's already open on the top, so. Now this one's got a big hole in it, so it's only going to be good for one page, but that's all right. It's junk mail that would normally end up in the recycle bin. So now we're going to actually make it useful. So that's 3 1/4 by 3 1/2. I'm just going to sit it up there. And now I have this piece, and I know that I can't get 3 pieces out of here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it 3 1/2 wide. And then I'm going to cut this little end off here because it will just, it'll bend in the notebook a little better. That's where the envelope was put together. Now, if you're not familiar with this project, oh, I made that 3 1/2. And it's supposed to be 3 1/4. Okay, well, you know. Cutting but not thinking. Not helpful. If you're not familiar with this project, in my live streams on Sunday, I work on this project live with the group, and many people have been following along. Okay, that's enough because I can only go through, I have to staple it later, and I need to make sure that I can run my staple through there. So that's all I've got. Now, how many pages is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 12. I think I can staple through that. We'll see. If I can't, we'll have to reduce the number of pages. This is dry enough to work with a little bit now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it off at just a touch over 3 1/4. Maybe 1/8 of an inch, so 3 3/8. Okay. Now then, I don't like these pieces on the bottom right here. They're just, that's where the envelope was put together. So I'm going to cut those off. Now I have this fun little cover piece. All right. And all I'm going to do, and see, it's just double layered. It just makes it just a little thicker. I'm going to fold it in half lengthwise. Anyways, if you'd like to do this live, I'd love to have you join us Sundays. I have my live stream Sunday at noon Central Time. And we've been working on this. Now, we haven't been working on it every single time. Sometimes I have taken time off. And I got those papers just a little bit tall. So I'm going to have to take them and cut them down just a little bit. What I'm going to do now is take and make a corner so that this looks like a tag. And what I will do is I will take this piece I cut off, and let's see if I open it up. It's not going to show very well for y'all. I just take this corner piece that I cut off and lay it over here. Let's see if I can bring in just a little closer. I'll try to stay in frame. How's that sound? But see, I cut this piece off of this corner. I'm going to lay it over here on this corner, and I will cut using that as my guide, and that makes the two corners pretty much the same. And now, rather than sit here and cut the corners off of all of these pieces of paper, I am going to just shorten them. It will be easier to just shorten them. I had made them 3 1/4, 3 1/2. I guess I'll make them 3 1/4. Yeah, maybe need to make it. Let's see here. Let's measure. Need to make them 3 inches. So because we don't want this to be happening. We don't want this piece of paper, when we put it inside of our little notebook, we don't want it sticking up right there. That's the deal. So I'm just cutting them down. Remember, we're using junk mail. If they had been the wrong size, I could have easily cut out some more. Guess it's time for a new blade. Now, I would have saved myself this headache had I waited and measured after I turned it into a tag. But best laid plans, right? So basically, once we have folded our double thick envelope in half, we would have measured the width of our envelope up to this little point where the tag part comes. If I had done that in the first place instead of trying to guess, I would have not had to go back and put in all that effort. Now what we're going to do is we're going to tuck this inside here. If you can see, we want these at the bottom. And I'm going to close this, and then I'm going to staple right across the top, but down far enough that my papers are stapled in. And I'm just going to put in about 3 staples across here. Okay. And our little tag notebook is now all stapled together, but I don't like the staples. I especially don't like the back part. So one of the things I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and put a hole for our fibers in there. And then I'm going to take some other paper. And you could use white paper, you could use black paper, but because this butterfly is this nice gold color, I thought I would use this little envelope and make a gold piece on it. So I'm going to take a little strip of paper. And you don't have to measure it, but if you want to measure, I'm probably going to go about a 1/2 or 3/4 of an inch wide. Let's try 3/4 and see if we like that. I do. I kind of like that. So I need 2 pieces. One for the front, one for the back. Then, do I want to put another piece over the top of it? I think I might. But I think I want to tie this plain white piece up in there. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe I should use a piece of... Oh, this is neat. This is, let's just cut it out open so that you can see it. This is basically the same pattern, but in a lighter version that the envelope is. So let's cut ourselves a little piece of it. We just made a decorative strip is all. I think I'll use the whole point of this strip, this decorative strip, is to cover up the staples. And I just don't like the pokey pieces of the staples on the back. So if we cover them up, make it look decorative, then we don't have staples that want to poke us. And that's just, oh yeah, that came out cute. Okay, I'm not sure if I finished my thought about Sunday. Sunday at noon Central Time, I do a live stream, and I have been working on this Totally Junk Journal round 2. A good many Sundays. I always do a follow-up video this time because if you can't make it to the live stream, it is so hard to dig through a live stream to find the information you want. So this time, because the last time we did Totally Junk Journal, it was just the live stream, and it is very hard to keep up with that. So if you miss a stream, it was hard to go back and get the information you needed. And that is why I decided that I needed this time to do it and make sure that you all had a separate how-to video. Okay, so now we have our little pad. Looks like a cute little tag. But of course we need some fibers up top. So I'm just going to use some embroidery floss. This is old embroidery floss. It's kind of fun to use this because this was my dad's. stuff. My dad did a lot of embroidery. He did more needlepoint than embroidery, but he did do a lot of embroidery. Okay. When you put that many fibers in, sometimes one of them is a little loose. So I'm just pulling on all of them to get that one this doesn't want to get tight. I don't know where it is, but it's just got an attitude. Okay, now we can just, these scissors will work better. I'll just trim the tops off. And we have fun fibers there. Now we want to cut our little butterfly out. And as I said, we put it, I put it on this extra piece of paper. Just, it could have been put on cardstock, could have been put on some tag board from a, say a box of crackers or cereal or something. But this junk mail envelope worked wonderfully. There is a playlist. I will make sure to link the playlist, hopefully up there and in the description box, of the Totally Junk Journal projects. I hope you'll enjoy this series. I try to use all recycled stuff. This is a magazine image. Okay, now we need a couple of little fibers just to make it cute. Okay, where's the end of that one? Oh my, I don't know if y'all can hear that, but that is some lovely thunder. Okay, let's... That's not long enough. We need a yellow one that's long enough to stay in there. When you put fibers in, you need to make sure that they go under there enough so that when you put the glue down to hold your piece down, that there's enough glue holding those fibers. So, and I want a couple to stick out the bottom. Come on now. There we go. And then I just glue here. I am going to glue his little antenna down. I put some drops of glue on, sort of on the fibers. Oops, lots of glue right there. Alrighty. Now then, Let me bring it in all the way so you can see it. Got glue that needs to dry, but it'll be okay. Oops, wrong direction. There you go. I hope that you've enjoyed this little project. Our little journals that we've been working on needed some tags to go in them, and I decided to make this little tag notebook instead. So we will probably be working on another tag next week, I hope. I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do next Sunday. I always post these videos after the live stream where I worked on this project, making it easy for everyone to come back in and find the project and catch up if they need to catch up. I'm going to read you a quote from our 1001 Ways to Creativity book and find out what my chores need to be done today. An author is one who can judge his own stuff's worth without pity and destroy most of it. Colette. An author is one who can judge his own stuff's worth without pity and destroy most of it. That's interesting. Anyways, guys, you go have fun. Make some art. Bye-bye.